This video is going to be a look at some defensive breakdowns and some issues that I have had with the Ravens defense in big games, in situations that became, huge determining factors for the outcome of the game. If you spend any time on social media or talking to people about football, particularly the Ravens, 80 to 85% of the conversation, maybe 90, is about the offense. And that's interesting to me, I guess I'll put it that way. Because there's two sides to the game. There's three facets to the game. Special teams is one of them. Nobody wants to hear me rant or make a video about special teams, even though occasionally I will put some special teams content out there. But it's interesting to me. I think what's happening, this is just one idea I have, is what I would call transference, meaning mass media, ESPN, Fox Sports, Sports Talk Radio, whatever, social media, spends 90% of their time talking about offense, probably more. So I think that's transferred to the fans. And I think that's, I don't know if that's intentional by mass media, but I think in a lot of cases you have guys analyzing the game on TV who aren't able to be a middleman for you in terms of defense, certain defensive principles. The video that I'm going to show you tonight, I'm going to offer to you that the defense deserves more blame than you think it does for some of the Ravens' playoff losses. We'll focus on two of them. I will omit the Chargers game from 2018, but we'll focus on the home loss to the Titans in 2019, and I'll show you, I think, 3 plays from that game. And then I will show you some plays from the Bills' playoff loss in the divisional round in 2020, which was an extremely winnable game. That Bills team was actually inferior to the Titans team we played in 2019, believe it or not, in terms of talent and in terms of what our defense was able to do to them. One thing that teams consistently did to the Ravens under Wink Martindale's defense was go bunch and run pick or rub concepts on third down, but they didn't do it on every third down. They only did it in certain places of the field. They only did it in certain times of the game. It was like having a trump card in your back pocket and pulling that out at the last moment. It was like a boxer waiting to throw the check left hook. He could have thrown it in the first 3 or 4 rounds, but waits to throw it until something is set up. Another thing I'm going to mention is coverage predictability. And I'm actually releasing 2 videos tonight. One of them is going to be about the Ravens defense, and I'm going to be trying to make the point to you that our coverage predictability opened the door for teams to execute certain plays and certain concepts against us. Again, the Titans and the Bills. And the second video I'm going to put out is going to show you how the Bills, the Bengals, the Vikings to a lesser extent, even the Broncos, have used multiple coverages to slow down our processing on offense. I think there's 2 ways to look at it, or there's 2 sides to a coin, okay? And you, me, all of us, have to be consistent in the way we look at each side of that coin. And I'm offering to you that right now I see a lot of inconsistency with people trying to evaluate the game. If you're going to try to evaluate the game, do both sides of the ball. If you can't, maybe you shouldn't be evaluating the game. This first play is from the Ravens' loss against Tennessee. It's our second possession. First possession, we know how that ended, right? We had the interception, whether you think it was a slightly high throw from Lamar or a drop by Andrew, or both of those things. In any case, we turn the ball over. Tennessee goes down and scores. Our second possession, this is a horrible play call. This is horrible. I did this on purpose so that you that are interested in offense, you got something here I'm giving you. It's a horrible play call. Why not give the ball to Gus? 4th and 1 if we're going to go for it from our own 45. You can even see that Lamar, who's clearly capable of converting the first down, why do we have a back behind him? It's like we're trying to trick the Titans, but everyone's going in this direction. Ricard, you got the pulling guard. Even Edwards is moving in this direction. There's no split flow. There's no counter look. There's nothing to pull a defender this way. And by the way, it's a fantastic football play by David Long, who is one of my favorite football players to watch on film. He's been really good for a number of years. Long is right here. It's an unbalanced formation. I will explain that here in a moment. Just a great fit by Long. That's what you call it when you're trying to figure out where to fit as an inside linebacker or second level player for that matter. A great fit by him. And I'll pull this back and I'll show you what I mean by unbalanced line. And this goes to our predictability. That's Hayden Hurst backside. To our left, the defense is right. So what we've done is we've taken Ronnie Stanley and put him on the same side, as Orlando Brown. Then we got Nick Boyle outside of them, and he's in a 4-point stance. So he's telling you he's going to down block someone. That's why he's in a 4-point stance. And then obviously we got Yanda over here at right guard. So we have created a 4-man surface, and we've got Ricard on the same side. We're pretty much telling them what's up. So predictability. It goes for the offense at times, and it goes for the defense. I would rather see us give this ball to Gus, let Gus try to convert it. I know we're talking about film from 3 years ago, but hey, this is what people do. We talk prior to training camp starting. So what happened there? We're down 7-0. We turn the ball over on downs. Tennessee gets the ball. First play of the second quarter. Actually, second play of the second quarter. It's like 14:52 left or 14:53. You know what happens here. I'm going to let the play run. It's a split flow play, so the H-back, which is Jonnu Smith here, is going to go away, meaning to the top side of the field. Split flow means the H-back or fullback and the running back are going in two different directions. So that's why it's called split zone, because they're running the zone this way, the way that the back is going, but the H-back or fullback is going the opposite direction. But we know it's a play-action pass. I'll talk about Earl Thomas here in a moment. What I suspect is happening on this play, what we know is happening is we're falling down 14-0. Took the air right out of the stadium, right? Let's pull this back. What's my complaint about the defense here? We had problems with eye discipline all year long with this guy. We did. Let's just say it. We did. Hall of Fame football player. Hall of Fame resume. Let's put it that way. Maybe it didn't work out for the Ravens. Great football player. I'm not talking about any of the off-field stuff, whatever. But in that season, 2019, there were many times on film where his eye discipline was poor. Particularly on third downs. There was 2 situations in the Buffalo game in the regular season where Marlon Humphreys beat deep. And at the end of the play, luckily both were incomplete, he turns around and looks at Earl Thomas like, what's up, man? Where are you supposed to be at? All right, so I don't know of a single coverage where only 5 guys are in coverage. All right? And we're not playing man. Now, there's only two guys going out in routes, and then Henry slipping out into the flats late. There is a blown coverage here somewhere. Some people, and by the way, my man Marlon Humphrey didn't play this well. He's one of my favorite players. He doesn't play this well. I suspect he thinks he's got help. But Chuck is definitely in between the hashes. So is this supposed to be cover 3? If so, then that means Marcus Peters should be, a deep third player. It's possible he didn't get to his deep third because he saw this route going over here. In my opinion, Marcus Peters is an incredibly intelligent guy. If it is supposed to be cover 3, and this is the only route that he gets developing, I think Marcus Peters is going to go help out. In my opinion, I think Earl Thomas is coming downhill when he's not supposed to be. That's my opinion. I think he's reading the H-back, Jonnu Smith, go away, and I think his eyes are in the backfield on Derrick Henry's flow to this side, and he's flying downhill. Some people would say, hey, Peanut was blitzing on that play. Earl Thomas was spinning down, to play that defensive area in terms of a zone. So what I mean is, Peanuts right here. Look, and the Titans did this a lot. They would motion an H-back to one side, and then post-snap, once the ball is snapped, he would then move to the other side of the football. So they're giving you a lot of eye candy. So some people say Peanuts blitzing here, and Earl Thomas was coming down to replace him. That is possible. I might have interpreted it incorrectly. But my point is, this is a big play the defense gave up. Yes, I have heard people mention it before. But there is a lot of discussion about the offense when the offense gets the ball 75, 80 plays a game, something like that, whatever the number is. The defense cannot give up big plays and ruin what is generally good defensive play, 92, 94% of the time, but then not get any of the criticism. Now, that doesn't mean that people, no one was criticizing. My point is, there's still people who talk about the Tennessee playoff game as if it was just a failure of the offense. We're going back to the 2019 offense. We're going back to that. That didn't work. And those people, Twitter only has 280 characters, something like that. We're going back to that offense and it doesn't work. Well, but there should be a part 2 to your tweet. There should be a part 2 to it about the defense. Because we give up big plays and we end up down 2 scores at home, which is huge. And it's not the only time. Right, I'm going to spin back to this Titans game here in a little bit. I'm going to move on to Buffalo, 2020. Buffalo's first drive of the third quarter. Of course, we had Lamar make one great play, actually two great plays, and Marquise Brown have a great catch late in the second quarter, luckily to get us, tied at 3. Of course, we know we could have been up 9-3, or even, we could have been up more than that if we get a touchdown on that first drive. One of the things that people have done, and I mentioned it earlier, is go bunch in big situations. Stay with me here if you've watched this long, because the next play I show you should be instructive. This is a second down. You see the marker up here. Buffalo's in a bunch formation up to the top. So 3 receivers tightly aligned to each other. They're not tight to the left tackle. That'd be a tight bunch. What's the problem here? You should have noticed it already. We've only got 2 guys defending it. One of the complaints that I have had about the defense for years, and I can generally tell the people who start to talk about defense whether they have a coaching background or not, because it's a lot of it's just about numbers. This math doesn't work. It doesn't work here. Even if you include Patrick Queen in this, Patrick Queen is running from an inside-out angle. This is not his fault. This is his coach's fault. And credit to the Bills for taking advantage of it. You may say, well, how is that our coach's fault? Let me show you. The way that when you create a game plan on defense, whatever formations that teams show. Now, the Bills are in 11 personnel here. So this is a common formation. All right, bunch closed. Now, I would call it A, because the tight end is here, and the running back is here. So he's on the same side as the tight end. The Bills absolutely could run sweep with Josh Allen. He's a run threat. So we have to match them. Numbers-wise, we have to match them. And we have. We've got 5 to their 5. And I'm going to pull this back just a little bit so I have room to write. So, Marcus Peters 1, Sean Elliott 2, McPhee 3, Campbell 4, and Clark is 5. We have 5 defenders to that side of the midline. And if you don't know, and I should have said this earlier, the midline is that line right there. It's where the ball is. So generally, it's where the ball is, where the middle of the center's body is, and in most cases, the middle of the quarterback's body as well. I may have that line drawn, slightly off. Now let's count the offensive players. You got the tight end on the other side of McPhee. He's 1. Right tackle 2. Right guard is 3. Running back is 4. That's your count so far. Here's the way that you count the quarterback and the center. Since they are on the midline, they count for a half a man each to both sides. So let's do our count again. Tight end, right guard, right tackle, running back. That's 4. Center is a half, so 4.5. Quarterback is a half, so 5. So we're matched up 5 on 5. The problem is over here to our right, off screen, they've got the bunch. We only got 2 players. I already showed you that. The third player needs to be one of these 2, either one of our inside linebackers or one of our 2 safeties. Somebody's got to be over there. We'll run it from the end zone angle, and then I'm going to show you a play from 2019. You tell me if you recognize any of it. Numbers-wise, we are lined up, but the problem is this guy is our third second-level player to the bunch, and he's not out there at all. He's not lined up far enough, but I don't blame Patrick Queen at all. That's our coach's fault for that particular alignment. And actually, you should call timeout. If you are misaligned and you're down 3-2, you should call timeout. So that puts us down by a score. We know what happens on the next offensive possession, which was a great possession. It was a long possession, like an 8-minute drive, and we end up throwing a pick 6. But guess what? Not the first time we've seen that play before, guys. 2019, a game where the Ravens completely outplayed the Bills up there in Buffalo. Windy day. I think we're up 24-3 at one point, maybe 17-3. But in any case, we won the game 24-17 on a ridiculous coverage by Wink Martindale. 4th and 9, we went cover 0. Shouldn't be surprised. This is late fourth quarter. You can see that it's a third down. What formation are they in? Damn near the same formation. Bunch B. Bunch closed B. So this time the tight end's down here and the running back's on the opposite side. So the running back is on the side of the bunch. Now we are lined up to it, meaning we have 3 DBs and we're communicating. But watch what happens with Cole Beasley and Jimmy Smith. Look, Jimmy Smith could guard Cole Beasley on a lacrosse field with nobody else out. Jimmy Smith would shut him down, especially when he's healthy. Marcus Peters would shut him down when he's healthy. But what happened was, I misspoke. It was not Jimmy Smith assigned to guard him. It was Marcus Peters who's here. He's getting picked. He's getting rubbed. Why is that? Because they know the coverage we play versus bunch. We always played man versus bunch. I wish my old channel was still around, some of the videos I did back then, because I talked about it. I talked about it before the playoff game against the Titans, and that's going to come back up here in a minute. So how does this relate to my overall point? We play the same coverages year after year against the same formations, bunch, and people exploit it, and we don't change, and you don't complain about it, and it almost is like a person who reads a book and misses some of the points. So my job is to not be too sarcastic and try to explain some of these things. This is a simple concept. Stop playing man to bunch all the time and then having these concepts beat you, because this is 2 years in a row. Correct me if I'm wrong, where the Bills have lined up in bunch down near the goal line, same end zone, I believe. I could be wrong, and beat us with a touchdown. Now, Stephon Diggs is capable of beating anyone man to man. All right, so no problem. But Marcus Peters can guard Cole Beasley 10 years from now. He can guard Cole Beasley any day of the week. Alignment-wise, we're checked out. We're good with alignment in terms of the midline. But again, problem is we've got another inside linebacker rolled up to the bunch side. So we're technically 4-on-3 over here. So they don't run that little screen because we've got the fourth guy. This is probably a check with me, meaning let's line up in bunch, and then Josh will communicate what he wants to do to these guys. They weren't going to run that little screen that they ran with Diggs because Peanut could have helped out on the inside out and then inside out angle, and now we've got 4-over-3, or they've got 2 lead blockers, and they've got to try to block 4 guys. Hopefully that makes sense. My overall point, hopefully I have made it to you in a somewhat decent fashion, is we're predictable coverage wise. Look at the DBs we had on the field here. Marlon Humphrey, Jimmy Smith, and Marcus Peters. As great as they were in that season, there were times where we put them in bad situations because teams knew our coverage. And if I haven't lost you already, this is the part that I think is the most important. This is the first possession of the Titans game in 2019. I have done this video and talked about this probably 4 times. Should stop talking about it. 3rd and 12. Are you surprised that the Titans lined up in bunch to their left, our right? It's the same exact thing the Bills did a year later. It's the same exact thing the Bills did earlier that season. They know we play man-free to it. So what I mean by man-free is we're going to play man against these 3 receivers with our 3 DBs, right? And then generally, we're going to have our free safety in the middle of the field. Now, in this case, he's a little bit offset to this side. What we're going to do is we're going to buzz Tyus Bowser back here to the middle of the field to take away, a slant from the bunch side. Theoretically, Earl Thomas could be there to help out on the X receiver, the backside X. You can see this time we've left Marcus Peters over there. You know the play. So did the Titans in terms of our coverage. They knew when Marlon Humphrey was on the point man, it's man. So what they did was they got a great matchup. And bro, look, Brandon Carr had a good season. He had a good season for the Ravens then, man. For being older, I respect that guy. He's a really great player for the age that he was and what we asked him to do. This is a great play by Jonnu Smith. In no way am I saying like we put him in a bad position for how the ball was thrown. But my point is, what did the Titans know? They knew that Marlon would be on the point man. They knew that if they put a tight end inside here, that he was going to be guarded by Brandon Carr. So if they got Humphrey on Jonnu Smith, he's not throwing this ball here. They were never going to get Humphrey on the inside receiver. Humphrey's always on the point man in the bunch. They were never going to get Marcus Peters on a tight end. They knew who they were coming after when they lined up in this formation. Why? Because that's all we ever played was man free to the bunch. It's a tough route to cover. Look where the hash is. Here's the hash. Carr and Jonnu Smith are 2.5 to 3 yards outside the hash. And he's running out and up. Some people call it a wheel, whatever you want to call it. He's running out towards the sideline, turning his head to the quarterback, and then running to the pylon. And it's a great throw. And it's a great catch. So, I'm not saying Brandon Carr did anything wrong. My point is, it's 3rd and 12. So what if they get an 8-yard gain? Why do you have to play man free? Why do you have to put, I think Brandon Carr was 36 there, maybe 34. Why do you have to put him on an island with a young tight end like Jonnu Smith? Do I expect Jonnu Smith to make that catch, 90 times out of 100? No. 50-50. Something like that will be my guess. Brandon Carr could tip the pass depending on, what he sees out of the route. But the Titans knew what coverage we were going to be in. Spend more time focusing on the coverages we play and how teams attack them. I'm going to release a second video tonight that's going to be on the coverages teams play against the Ravens offense. And it's going to start with the Bills in 2020. There's going to be 3 main points to it. Hopefully I do a better job in that video of trying to describe the coverages teams play. Well, I have to do a better job because they're more complex. They're more varied. Our coverages are simple. We're simple. That's what's going to be better about our defense this year. So turning it into a positive, we're going to be more multiple. Our coaches are actually going to teach zone drops to the inside linebackers and second-level defenders. We're actually going to be able to force the quarterback to hold the ball for extra half seconds because he's processing the coverage now. He doesn't know the coverage just based on how they line up. I'm telling you that our defense deserves more blame than a lot of us have applied to it for the playoff losses. And there are a lot of people who spend an inordinate amount of time only criticizing our offense because that's the only evaluation and analysis that you generally hear or that you generally get. I'm trying to offer a little more balance to that. There's a whole lot of Ravens content creators that offer analysis of our defense as well. Sip to Tally, EA, Huddle It Up Films, Ken, all of those guys, and there's other names that I'm forgetting as well. But point being, spend more time talking about the things that our defense has done wrong. Yes, have we held teams down in terms of points? Yeah, we have. But we could have done an even better job if we didn't give up some of these big plays. Some of the things we did on defense under Wink were unconscionable, if that's the right word to use. I'm not even going to talk about the Bears' 4th and 11 play because I'll rant and rave for another 5 minutes. There is a lot to see here. There is a lot to say about our playoff losses beyond just Lamar. Lamar messed this up. The coaches failed Lamar. Lamar doesn't have weapons. Our offensive line sucked. There's more to say than just that. And my question is, why don't you say it? If you've listened this long, you're hardcore, why don't you have things to say about our defense that are critical? Because these are critical mistakes. These are critical situations where our preparedness and our ability to be multiple did not stack up. It's easy to design plays when you know the coverage. If all they've got to do is get in bunch and they know we're going man free, guess what? That's why they go in bunch on 3rd down. That's why they save it for being down near the end zone. Did you see the situations I showed you here when you got bunch? It was down near the goal line. Why? Because they wanted a touchdown and not a field goal. And they were saving those plays in their hip pocket for when they needed them. If they lined up in bunch and used this play at midfield, it might have got them a 1st down, but it wouldn't have got them 7 points. These are points that I made in a video after the 2019 season. Actually, excuse me. I made this point before the Titans game in a preview video I did on our bunch formations. We have been exploited already. I showed you one of them from the 2019 season, Buffalo. In that video I'm referencing, I had showed 2 others from that same Buffalo game. So, if you're interested in any of this, let me know in the comment section. Obviously, I'm quite sarcastic about it because I look at the game as a 50-50 situation. If you don't, it's okay for you to be wrong. If you value the offense more than the defense, it's okay for you to be wrong. The principles and fundamentals of football will not change until they've pushed the rule set so far in one direction that they've just turned it into 7-on-7. Now, that's all. But the Ravens' defensive miscues have been generally the fault of their coaches. No reason why we should let the Titans, Bills, and other teams manipulate our coverages. If you want to see our coverages be taken advantage of, look at the 2020 road loss at the New England Patriots. A game that we lost We had no business losing talent-wise, none. And we lost because they knew the situations we were in man-free, and they took advantage of it. They exposed Patrick Queen, but Patrick Queen should have never been put in that position. It's not Patrick Queen's fault. It's our coach's fault. And I'm here to point that out to you, that you should be more critical of John Harbaugh about the defensive side as well. Because it's his job ultimately to make sure those people are prepared. And I don't think they were under Wink Martindale. Even though I like him and he's a great coach, I think that he failed us in some of these moments. You guys let me know what you think. Obviously, this video went on a little long. Forgive the monologue at the end. I'm a defensive coach at heart. And after seeing dozens, hell, hundreds of comments about the offense in the offseason, it does get kind of tiresome that any attempt to point out defensive miscues, defensive mistakes from other people is kind of run down, attacked. And I think it's wrong-headed because we've made mistakes on both sides of the ball. Oh, we've had special teams mistakes in the playoffs. We missed two field goals in the Buffalo game, right? Windy day, I know, I get it. We make those 2 field goals, the whole tone and tenor of the game has changed. Now, when we have the ball in the third quarter, we're not down 10-3. We're down 10-9, and a field goal is okay. And maybe we don't force that throw to Mark Andrews. So it's all related to me. I think the game is far more balanced than a lot of people try to evaluate it. It's okay if you disagree. I appreciate any and all comments. Let me know what you guys think of the video. If you'd like to see anything else, I have a defensive video for the Buffalo Bills coming up late tonight. If you're interested, that'll probably be online at about 1 a.m. Let me know what you guys think of the video in the comment section.